Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today for our Aspen Discovery 101 webinar. My name is Jessica Zarrow, and today with me, we also have Cal Marquise and Bill Kessler, and we will be going through and showing off all the amazing features of Aspen Discovery. And if you are looking at getting started with Aspen, we'll have information and resources that we will share throughout the presentation. Now, if you have questions that come up throughout this webinar, please feel free to use the chat box or the Q&A section, and Cal and Bill will answer those questions. And if there's something that we can throw out and show on the screen, we'll absolutely do that as well. So we'll first kick things off and talk about the goals of Aspen Discovery. Now, the goals of Aspen Discovery have one thing in mind, and that is to make sure that all of the amazing resources that your library subscribes to are available for your patrons, right? We want to make sure that we can maximize the usage of those materials so that when they perform a search, they can find exactly what they're looking for. Our second goal is to make sure that we can connect to your ILS and all of the e-content providers that you have access to. So when I perform a search, I will not only find what's available in that print catalog, but also anything that I subscribe to via e-content. My third goal, make it as easy as possible for our patrons to use Aspen. As most of us walk around with a phone in our hand, or we're a pretty savvy searcher, whether it's on Hulu or Netflix or, whatever the website is, we want to make it easy so when that patron performs a search, they can find exactly what they're looking for. And then finally, our fourth goal, and that's to make sure that our administrators have an easy time setting up, customizing, and maintaining Aspen. If you have something new, we want to make sure that it's easy for them to get in there, set it up, so they can make it discoverable. Next, let's talk a little bit about communities. The Aspen community has been growing over the last 3 years with over 600 libraries that have now implemented Aspen Discovery. A huge shout out to our community members and to the Aspen Discovery team here and the growing community worldwide. We have users in the UK, in Saudi Arabia, and beyond that have started implementing Aspen Discovery. We have monthly gatherings which meet virtually, where they discuss developments, updates, what other libraries are doing, so they can share exactly how Aspen is working in their library. This is an awesome opportunity for your staff to get together, share ideas, and hear what libraries are actually doing with Aspen. It's such a great opportunity to get in there and really dig around. Next, integrations. There are dozens of different databases and e-content resources and vendors that Aspen can connect to. One of the most recent is the LibCal connection with SpringShare, so you can view events now in Aspen Discovery. And then finally, development. Enhancements are continuous in Aspen Discovery. They're deployed to your system monthly, and this is a great opportunity to get your feedback to the Aspen community about where you want the discovery layer to go. All right, so now what we're going to do is we are going to jump into the Aspen Discovery demo, and we are going to show off just some of the amazing library discovery systems that our partners are using to start off with, and then we'll jump in and show you just how Aspen Discovery works. So the first library here we have is Knox County, Tennessee. And this is their main landing page for Aspen Discovery. And one of the things I really like to show off here is you'll notice that there is a browse category on this main page. Now, browse categories in Aspen Discovery are a way for you to curate your collection or highlight different categories that you want your patrons to explore. So the first one here you'll see is the New York Times bestseller. Now, this is another key component of Aspen. We have an API that connects directly to the New York Times bestseller list. So every week, it will actually curate a list of those titles that are in the New York Times bestseller list, and it will pull in what your library has available. So they can come through here, they can click on a title and not only see what's in your physical collection, but also what's available in e-content. This is what we call Ferberization or Ferber, or of course, just the grouping together of all of those formats. So if I come in here, I can say, you know what, I am really looking for the e-audiobook. I can come over here, I can place the hold, or maybe I want something right away, I can go in and grab that book on shelf. So it's a great opportunity for them to explore. The next catalog we're going to show off here is in McKinney Public Library System, and they're in Texas. And one thing that we love that they've done is they've created a kids cat or a kids catalog. This is an opportunity for them to curate special collections where they can highlight easy readers, fiction books, middle grade fiction, juvenile, whatever it may be. And again, this is where their kids and juveniles can come in here, they can explore and view that information. So just another really neat way for them to highlight that information. Now, as staff members, you're probably wondering, how do I create these browse categories? And it's really simple. There's two ways. You can either perform a search in the system and create a browse category. And the really cool feature about that is that it automatically updates. So once you create that browse category and as new content is created, if it matches that search, it'll automatically update it. So think about like your on order items and things like that. It just makes it super easy to maintain that information and make it discoverable in your system. The second one here that we want to show off is Spanish Fork Library, and they have so many great things going on. You'll notice over here down in the right-hand side corner, they have a little widget that is in bed, and they allow their patrons to come in and actually ask a question, and they can text it to them. And it texts a question to the librarian, and then the librarian can answer and respond back. Again, just making that connection really simple for the librarian and the patron. You'll also see here a search that I performed for sewing machine. And one thing that I really love is just how it hits that #1 goal of Aspen, right? To make sure we're utilizing all of the resources that are available. And this is, of course, something that's near to my heart. This sewing machine maintenance is taking me right out to the e-video. So this is one of the products that they subscribe to, Creative Bug. So it's a great way where they can see that information and it's discoverable in the results. And another key component here with that little connection down at the bottom, being able to connect to third-party vendors. It is an opportunity where you can bring that information in no matter what you're using. The next example here we're showing off is Benbrook Public Library. Now they are over in Texas and they are part of the MetroShare Consortium. And one thing that we really love about them is how they created these beautiful Library of Things boxes. And another neat component of Aspen Discovery, you can actually upload your own images. So this is a great example here where you can see, here's one of their crochet kits, where you can see all of the information, how to learn and improve your crocheting skills. So again, just another neat opportunity to bring all of those resources, whether it's traditional or non-traditional materials, in front of your patrons. The next example we're going to show off here is Washoe County Library System, and they're located in Reno, Nevada. And one of the really cool features of Aspen is the availability to create placards. So here you're going to see I performed a search for career, and this actually brings back a little placard for their subscription that they have for BrainFuse. And that takes them to Job Now, which is a place where job seekers can search and find resources for career assistance. Maybe they're creating a new resume or they're looking for a new career path. But this is a placard. So what this allows you to do in Aspen Discovery is essentially advertise or highlight a service that your library system provides. I always think the best way to describe this is think about things that you traditionally don't create a MARC record for. This is an awesome opportunity for you to advertise that. It's driven by trigger words that the user searches for. So, trigger words for this could be job, career, resume, anything that would tie into what JobNow offers. And it's just an awesome opportunity for them to see that information when they perform that search. These can be specific to a branch. They can even expire or start on certain dates, making it really easy for you to create these so they're populated in the correct time and fashion for when your patron searches. Our next example over here is Uinta County Library. Now, they are such an awesome partner where they have highlighted most of everything that Aspen Discovery offers. Now, if we come back to the main landing page here for Uinta County Library, they are using Aspen Discovery's Web Builder. This is an opportunity where you can use the Web Builder platform to build pages in Aspen Discovery. And actually, Uinta is using that for their entire library website. So you'll notice here on my main page, I can see upcoming events. Now they are using a third-party provider for events, Library Markets, Library Calendar. They've created these cool collection spotlights so they can highlight some of their book clubs. They've embedded a video. They're talking a little about their code club. And then, of course, as I scroll down below, they're highlighting some more of their collection. So this is just an awesome opportunity for you to kind of build what you know is important to your patrons. Now, I want to perform a quick search here and talk about all of the resources that you can highlight in the system. I'm going to do a search for quilt, and you'll notice when that comes back, I get my facets over here on the left-hand side where I can narrow down my results. I also get these handy format icons up top. And what that allows me to do is actually narrow down the format. So, I'm getting ready to go on a road trip tomorrow, and maybe I'm looking for some audiobooks. I can select that, and that will just show me all of the audiobooks that are available for me in the system. So again, just another opportunity to make it really easy for your user to find exactly what they're looking for. They can also narrow down by items that are available now and items that are available online. So again, just another way for them to find exactly things that, with the snap of the finger, they can check it out. So now let's talk about the results that we're going to see here. As we scroll through, you'll see, e-magazines, we'll see books. And after every second result in Aspen, you're going to see a section which gives the user the opportunity to explore more. So let's go back to that first goal in Aspen, and that's to make sure that all patrons utilize what their library has to offer. So here we'll see that in plain sight. We have first the option for a Quilters at the Library event. If I click on that, that takes me out where I can actually view that event online. So if I want to add it to my calendar or set a reminder, this is just a great way for me to do that. It also links me out to Creative Bug. So again, just another opportunity for me to see, ways to do crafts and instructional videos that tie into my search. The other thing I'll see here is lists. So if I click on that, that's actually going to take me into the quilting fiction list that was curated by their staff members. So again, just another opportunity to explore a curated list in the system. And then, of course, one of the next things you'll see is the integration with their archival system. And you'll see here, this is through the University of Utah, which is part of their state library. And this gives them the opportunity to see that particular content and all of the metadata that is connected to that resource. So again, this gives the user so many options for them to see that. The last one you'll see over here is actually a genealogy record. So this takes me in where I can actually see the record of this individual. And here I can see she enjoyed crocheting, sewing, and quilting. So again, just another opportunity to hit everything on that search in those results. The final example I'll show today is one of our consortial partners, and this is the Wisconsin Valley Library System in Wisconsin. And the page that I'm starting on here is their select interface. So if you're part of a large consortium, this is a nice way that Aspen will display all of the libraries that are a part of that system, so they can come in and select that. And then once they select their library, it will remember it for them. So now that I have my Marathon County Public Library selected, which is one of the libraries in the system, it brings back those results where I can see that information. You'll also notice that this is a little bit different than the previous screen that we looked at. And again, that's one of the rich highlight features of Aspen Discovery, is it gives the opportunity for each library to make those customizations if they want. Now, if you want to create a basic look and feel for your entire consortium, you can do that as well. So here we're looking at Wisconsin Valley's main page, and then this would be one of the individual libraries within that consortial environment. Now, I want to talk a little bit about searching and what that looks like within the system. So if I come in and I perform a search, I'm going to look for Coraline. You'll notice as I start typing, it brings back results in the system. So you can see it's making a prediction there for me. And what that's going to do is that's going to look for any type of title, any type of subject or authority or series in the system. And it's just a nice opportunity if they don't remember how to spell it, if they don't remember what that author's name is, or they were talking to somebody and they're like, oh, what is that book's title? It's going to give them some type of suggestion. So when they do perform that search, it is going to bring back those results in the system. So you'll notice here now, it gives me results for the entire collection, which is the entire collection of that consortium, or I can narrow it down and say, just show me what's available at my county public library. And what's really nice about that is I can come in here and see those copies that are available. I can click on where is this, and it will show me those locations that it's available at. And then of course I can see all of those formats. So just a really nice way for you be able to view that information and be part of a consortium for that resource sharing and collection for your patrons. All right, now let's jump back over to our demo site and we'll just run through some basic searches in Aspen Discovery. We'll talk about those customizations that your library can make, and we'll get into just what makes Aspen Discovery tick. So this is our demo platform where we're going to show off some searches. Now, the main page that we're looking for, we talked about these browse categories. And, you know, the one thing I really love about this is just how customizable they are. You can see we have quite a few in here, you know, whether it's a curated search or it's even a book list that you've created. This is just a really nice way for your users to be able to come in here and search through that information in the system. You can even create these subcategories. And subcategories, you'll notice here, I'm in available movies, but I can also just jump in and say, you know, adults, teens, or even kids movies. And again, these can be customized in any way. So once I find what I'm looking for, I can go in, see where that's available at, and then of course, start that option to place a hold. Now, let's talk a little bit about searching. So searching in Aspen Discovery allows your users to really try and narrow down and find exactly what they're looking for. And I'm going to start with probably some of my favorite searches. And I'm going to do a series search for Harry Potter. And again, you'll notice we're getting titles, we're getting subject headings, for examples of that prediction text within Aspen. Now, this first dropdown, you're going to notice I can perform a search as a keyword search, title, series, author, even an advanced search. And right next to that, you're going to see options to search within the library catalog, articles and databases, events, lists, websites, archives, and even genealogy records. And again, this is giving your user the opportunity to find exactly what they want. And we're going to start with just a basic library catalog search. Now, once I perform that search, it's going to bring back my facets over here on the left-hand side where I can narrow down those results. Now, as staff, I will say you can customize these facets. There's over 30 that you can choose from, and you can actually set in order which you would like for them to appear. So if you want them open by default or collapsed by default, you can customize that. Now, let's talk a little bit about the relevancy in Aspen Discovery. Relevancy can be configured in a few different ways. The first we talk about is boosting. This allows you to boost different formats within the system. So if you want to push books and make those a higher priority than some of your e-content or vice versa, you can actually boost formats. And when the search is being performed, we use a Solr indexer. That will take into a couple things. It's going to look at the popularity of the title. How many copies are there? How many copies have been checked out? What's the circulation on it? And it's going to use that to try and push those to the top. If it's something relevant, if it's something popular and hot, that's going to drive it to the top of the list. So you'll notice that we get that result for Harry Potter. And as we look at this title, we're going to see all of those amazing formats that are together. So if there was multiple editions, I'd be able to see those. Think of like The Yearling or Pride and Prejudice. It's going to group together all of that information. I can also jump directly into this title, and that's going to give me the detailed view of this record. Now, the detailed view of this record is going to highlight a little more information. Over here on the left-hand side, you'll notice we have a rating. This actually allows me to rate the title of this book. And where that comes in handy for your patron is Aspen will actually start giving recommendations based on what you've liked in the system. So again, just another really nice opportunity for them to explore more things in your collection. As I scroll down, it's also going to give them suggestions, descriptions, other titles in the series, other titles they might like. And then of course they can navigate through other things like subjects that they might want to explore, additional details. And then if you have Novelist Select, you'll be able to see similar series, authors, and titles. Now, if you allow your borrowers to write reviews about titles, you'll also see that here. And you can see there's one in there. I was hooked right from the beginning. So, this is a nice way that you can tie in that personalization of your community and bring those reviews in. And then, of course, down at the bottom, we see those staff reviews, and that will show me just a staff look at this record within the system. Now, I'm going to jump back up to the top, and we're going to go into the authors and author search. Now, one thing that I always like to highlight here is the availability to turn on integration with Wikipedia. And what that'll do is that'll actually bring in just a brief preview of the author's Wikipedia entry, usually the first 2 or 3 paragraphs. This, again, is something you can turn on and off in the system, but it does give your reader a nice way for them to kind of dig in if they're unfamiliar with that author. All right, I'm going to jump up to the top, and we're going to do another search. And this time I'm going to search for sewing. Again, you'll notice it gives me titles, subjects, and more. And I'm going to jump in now, and the first thing you'll see here, we get one of those placards. Again, highlighting that creative bug database. And as I scroll through, you're going to notice we can see both e-content, e-magazines. I get that explore more section. And as I scroll down through my results, I can navigate through things that might be relevant for me. Maybe I want to look at sewing for beginners. I can check out Right Through Overdrive, checking out any type of different title. And as I scroll through my results, I'm going to go right down to the bottom. I want to highlight some of the features that you can turn on. The first is the option to tie in interlibrary loan. And if your library does do this, you can actually turn this on so your users can request those from other libraries. You'll also see the option to turn on the Digital Public Library of America. And this is a way for them to explore more about that title. And then finally, down below, you'll notice there is a materials request service. So if you do any type of purchase suggestions, this is a really nice way for them to be able to do that. And then finally, at the bottom, you'll notice that we have some search tools. So if they want to email this search to themselves or save it or even export it to Excel, they can do that right from one click. So let's jump back up to the top, and now let's talk about e-content integration and being able to check things out right from Aspen Discovery. So if, let's say I want to check this Simply Sewing out. Once I click on that, it's going to prompt me to log into the system. So here you'll see a little pop-up with a username and password. If I forgot it, I can reset my password. And if I'm not a library card holder yet, I can even register for a new library card. And that will give me the opportunity to self-register and then create an account. So this time I'm going to enter in my username, which could also be my library card, and then my password, which could also be PIN. Once I log in, it's going to allow me to check out that title via Overdrive. So currently, Aspen Discovery has API connections with the major e-content providers: Overdrive, Hoopla, Cloud Library, and Access 360. So what that means for your library is you don't have to upload those MARC records anymore. The API connection will bring those directly into Aspen Discovery, and now your users will be able to check those out right from the interface. So if I come in here and select check that title, it'll either give me a success, which we can see here, where I can now go view my checkouts and view that information in the system. Of course, if I wasn't able to check it out, it would also alert me of that as well. So this now takes me into my checked out titles. So not only will this show me what I've checked out via Overdrive or maybe one of my other e-content providers, but I can also see my physical material. So you'll see things that you've checked out, anything that might be overdue, things that might be due in a couple of days, and just a great opportunity to view that information. And then, of course, for Overdrive, I can see that information as well. So I can either access it online, I can also return it, and I also get this great little "you might also like" feature. And that's going to give me other suggestions for titles that I may like in the system. Again, bringing it back to our goals with Aspen Discovery, making it very easy for your users to explore your collection, no matter what the type of resource it is. Now, I want to take a minute here to pause and talk about the experience for your user. Aspen Discovery is built on a responsive theme. You're asking me what that means, Jesse? If you open Aspen Discovery on your mobile device, whether it's an Android or a iOS device, whether it's Chrome or Safari, Aspen Discovery will automatically fit to that device that they're opening on, whether it's their mobile or a tablet. Another perk is you can also download the Aspen Discovery app right within Google Play or iOS in the Apple Store. Again, so it's giving them the opportunity, whether they like to just read it in their browser or if they want to download the app. So just an easy way for them to begin that reading process or listening process or viewing process right from their mobile device. Now, we're going to see the same thing for our holds. You'll notice here another handy link. It's telling the user when the location will be open today. So the North Branch is my home location and it's open from noon to 4:30. So I can run right in there and pick up my hold. You'll also notice over here we have a while you wait feature. Again, giving us the opportunity to explore more of the collection. I love how it's so easy to find things in the system. Down below, we're going to see things like our pending holds. So what does that mean? It's not yet been triggered or trapped in the ILS. Maybe it's still checked out to another individual. Maybe it's just not been grabbed from the shelf after I place the hold, but I can view all of that information here as well as manage that. So I can cancel holds, I can freeze holds. If I'm getting ready to go on vacation and I don't want to miss my place in line, you can freeze them. And if your library allows it, you can also change your pickup location. So again, making it really easy for your user to manage all of their holds in one spot. Okay, let's talk a little bit about reading history. So Aspen Discovery offers the opportunity to your users to opt in to view their reading history. Now, of course, this is something that you can turn on and off within Aspen, but this gives them the opportunity to jump in and either start recording it, or if they don't want to, they can leave it be, but then they can go in and actually see things that they've checked out in the past. And one thing I want to highlight is, not only is this your physical collection, but it's also your e-content collection. And that just makes me so excited because before I can remember just, having to go into the Overdrive app itself. And this is so nice because now it's in one place. So I can see, did I read it? Or was it something I listened to? It's just gives them a great experience. They can search, they can sort in all different types of fashions, making it really easy for them.
Hey, Jesse?
Yeah.
We have a question,
Okay.
and you can answer it as you see fit. Can a patron or librarian create a list? We see the list button here.
Oh, yes, absolutely. So you'll notice here right down on the bottom left-hand side, we have something that's called My Lists. So that's going to show me anything that I've created in the system. And from every entry that you see in here, users can add that to a list. So if I come in here and I say, add to list, I can add to one that I already have, or I can create a new list. So if I want to create a sewing list in here, I can write a little description. And then you'll notice I have one more option, which is access. So what this does is, right now I have it set to private. And what that means is I'm the only one who can view that list. If I switch it to public, what that means is I can share that with other people by simply copying the URL or using the email button. So maybe, I have a best friend that we like to read the same book and then chit chat about it. I can turn that on, create the list, and then share that with them. So it's a pretty easy way. And you'll notice I can add digital or print right into that list. And as far as management goes, you'll see now we have sewing over there under My List. And now I can come in here and I can add multiple titles. So I can either type in the title's name or the ISBN. I can email the list off to myself or another individual. I can print it. I can even generate citations. And of course, I can change the sorting. The next thing we'll talk a little bit about is fines and messages. So if you have fines or fees, or maybe you've gotten rid of fines or fees and maybe you just charge for the replacement cost of titles, you'll see here the option for viewing that information. And we do have connections with several e-commerce providers. This one is currently hooked up to PayPal. So what this does is this allows me to go out to PayPal, make that payment, and then of course, come back in here where it updates that information. So that means that all the PCI compliance is taking place at that third-party provider. You'll also see the button for material request. And again, this is something you can turn on and off. And this allows the user to come in and make a purchase suggestion at the library. Now, earlier I mentioned those recommendations, and this is a way for you to, again, rate books from either 1 to 5, and then also things that you don't like or didn't like in the system that you don't want to recommend. And what Aspen will start doing is building you this beautiful list of titles that they recommend for you. And so that allows me to kind of go through this list. I do have the option to, of course, hit don't recommend, but one of my favorite patron engagement features of Aspen Discovery is the automatic creation of a recommended for you browse category. So you'll notice now that I'm logged in, I have this awesome recommended for you category where I can just browse through those titles. And for our friend who asked about the lists, it also creates a browse category for lists too. So it's really cool. We can come in here and, click on one of those and view that information right in the system. So it's a pretty cool experience for the user. They'll also see in their account information some of their account settings. So making it really easy for them to view their digital library card. You'll notice here we have linked cards. And what Aspen Discovery does is it allows you to set up linked accounts. Now, this is something that's agnostic to the ILS connection. This is the opportunity for your patrons to come in and actually add an account. So perhaps it's a partner or a child, or maybe they care for, a parent or a relative, guardian ad litem. This allows them to come in and they can actually add that account in there. So right now I have Tina B added in. I can remove them at any time. And then down below, I can also see other accounts that are connected to this one. Now, once linked accounts are connected, you'll be able to see that information for any type of physical checked out materials, as well as Overdrive, Cloud Library, or any e-content providers. So you'll notice, of course, Tina has some overdues on Samwise's account. And you can see that information here pretty easily. You'll also be able to see that for titles on hold and any fines or messages. Where you won't see this is in the reading history. That's just going to pertain to the user itself. Also in their account settings, they'll be able to see preferences, where they can set, the type of language they would like it to display. Aspen currently displays in 7 different languages. They can set their home and pickup location. And then, of course, they can update contact information, whether it's a new cell phone number or an email address. And then they can even customize their messaging preferences. So, if you prefer to get a hold notification via SMS, you can set that in the system. And these are pulling from your ILS. So it's grabbing that patron's information and it's pulling that right into the account. One last feature in the account that I want to show off is search history. And this is a nice opportunity for patron engagement, for the user to come in and they can actually save a search. And so what that means is they can actually save something and then jump right in there to view that information. Another really cool piece of this is it will also create a browse category. So we saw that for the recommendation, it also shows them the saved search. And then their saved searches will show up as those subcategories. So just another awesome opportunity to view that information right within the system.
Hey, Jesse, what happens with this hide button that's on that screen?
Yeah, so you'll notice the personalization over here. This allows the user to come in and actually hide something. So for example, let's say I wasn't interested in any teen titles. I can come over here and hit that hide button, and then that would remove it from my list. So this is just another way that you can kind of customize that information right within the system. All right, so we showed some pretty basic searches with the library catalog. Now let's explore what some of the other ones look like. I'm going to do a search for pandemic, but this time we're going to do it in articles and databases. And this will show you the integration with our EDS or EBSCO's Discovery Service. You'll notice my facets look a little bit different over here. On the left-hand side, I can narrow down by, let's say, a particular source type if I'm just looking for academic journals, and then I can view that information. You'll notice another drop down here that you'll see is for events. And this is actually connected to LibCal, which is a product by SpringShare. And what this will do is this will actually bring events that are going on at the library right within the search. So we saw those in some of the search results, but they can actually search right within the system. So you'll notice I just did a blank search in events. I have some facets over here. I can narrow down by, age or branch, even an event type. If I'm looking for just online events, I can come in here and view that information. You'll notice it gives me the registration link where I can register right in LibCal, or if I want to learn a little more information about it, I can jump right in and view it. It also creates this beautiful calendar where I can come in and see exactly what's going on at all of the libraries in my system. So again, just bringing everything into one place for those users. The next thing we'll show off is the integration with history and archives. And again, we saw this when we were looking at Uinta earlier, but I want to show what it looks like when you just perform a search. Every time we use one of these unique connections, it's customized for your user's experience so they can narrow down those results, whether they're looking for a particular publisher or source right within the system. So again, making it really easy for them to view that information and of course, all that great metadata down below. The last one we're going to show off here is combined results. And this is something that I think is so neat. This gives them kind of like a bento box look where they can see everything in one spot. So I can see catalog results for sewing, events that are going on at the library, history and archives, if there was anything that matched my website or lists, and of course, Digital Public Library of America, articles and databases, all in one swoop. So this is a nice way, again, just to give your users that little extra peek at what's available in all of the different platforms. So I'm going to pause for a second and I am going to sign out. And this time we're going to sign in as a librarian. And what this allows me to do is I'm going to come in where we can take a quick look at the administrative side of Aspen Discovery. And the nice thing about the platform is everything is in one place. So as soon as I log in, you'll notice that there is an Aspen Discovery administration link over here on the left-hand side. This allows me to come in and view administration. So I can come in, I can customize my users, I can define permissions as to who has roles, and this can get very granular or very broad, depending on what you are looking for within the system. So if you wanted to set one of your staff members up so they could come in and create those browse categories, they can easily do that. We have beautiful dashboards that allow you to explore analytics right within Aspen Discovery. So if you're looking for page views, you can view that information. Also a nice graph view of that information. Within Aspen administration, I'll also talk about our implementation process, and our amazing Aspen Discovery implementation specialists will walk you through setting up this in Aspen Discovery. So through the weekly processes of meetings, they will take you through and show you how to set up things like your themes, where you can define colors, you can specify specific branches, and go through and bring your branding directly in. Now, I want to talk a little bit about accessibility. You'll notice over here on the right-hand side, it gives me a breakdown where I can enter in my hex value or even my RGB value. Over on the right, you're going to see accessibility. So right now, this is giving me a red 299. That's telling me this is not accessible to my users who is viewing this website. Anything that's green is great, yellow is questionable. So this is built in to help you design an accessible site within Aspen. And this is a huge shout out to our community members. One of our consortium libraries that we worked with during the implementation process helped perform user studies where they helped us develop and roll this feature out for all to use. Just another amazing feature of open source. Also within administration, you are going to see things where we're going to set up configuration, define your locations, even set things up like two-factor authentication. You know, it's so important these days to set up authentication, making sure that privacy is kept. We do, two-factor authentication with almost everything these days, and Aspen can provide that same opportunity. You'll also notice over here, we have the web builder functionality, which brings in the basic or custom or advanced setup of pages right within the system. And then of course, a few others that we'll see here, any type of enrichment, setting up those browse categories that we talked about, or placards, defining your cataloging or grouped works, setting up e-commerce, and then of course those third-party providers. Finally, down below, we'll see those e-content providers where we're going to define those settings to set up the information between that e-content provider and Aspen Discovery. Now, to wrap things up over here, we'll talk a little bit about the Aspen Discovery support that we offer. If you are a partner through Bywater Solutions, we tie that information right into the system to make it really easy for you to come in and submit a ticket, communicate with our amazing Aspen Discovery team, and make that communication process as simple as possible. You'll also notice we have links that go right out to the help manual where you can find exactly what you're looking for. It'll give you a little tutorial with screenshots and this amazing breakdown of how it works, including a little tutorial video. And then of course, finally, we'll talk a little bit about the release. As we mentioned earlier in this presentation, releases go out monthly, and at any time you can come in here and view the current release or past release within the system. Now, I'm just going to take 1 second here to pause and to see if there are any other questions that came in before we jump over to the rest of our presentation.
Jesse, can you go over which ILS this integrates with?
Yeah, absolutely. So currently, Aspen Discovery can connect to several different ILS systems in here, and I'm going to pull up a page actually where we have those listed so you can see that information. Here we go. And this allows you to connect to various ILSs. So whether it is Koha or Circe or one of the triple I products, we can connect to several of those in the system and make that experience as seamless as possible for your users. Now, let me just slide this over so we can share that. This gives a complete breakdown of all of the e-content providers that we connect to, anything you can do with side loading, database, and then of course, ILS integration. So you can see that complete list. Now, of course, we're constantly working on new connections. So this list is always being updated for our users. All right. So the last thing we're going to talk about today is the implementation process. So if you are looking at getting started with Aspen Discovery, there's a few steps. A member of the Aspen Discovery team will work with you throughout the process to configure and set up integrations, and then work on that customization of your Aspen Discovery experience. We have a great team of users here that work together to make sure that you truly understand how the Aspen Discovery system works, from cataloging training to your patron experience training and beyond. We want to make sure that your users find exactly what they're looking for. And we want to share one of these great quotes that came from one of our partner libraries. And I won't read it word for word, but just sharing how their experience was, setting up Aspen Discovery and moving all of their libraries forward to that open source community. And finally, we just want to share, we have 2 upcoming webinars. Cal will be kicking off the digital marketing with Aspen Discovery on May 10th. Next month at 1 p.m. Eastern, and Jordan Fields will be presenting the personalization of every interaction with Aspen on June 8th at 3 p.m. Eastern. And then, of course, we'll be available for questions, but if you are looking at getting started with Aspen Discovery, we would love the opportunity to talk to you. Bill is available to set up a one-on-one demo with you and or your library. We love to find out what y'all are using, what you like, and we customize those demonstrations for you. If there are any other questions that we can answer, we'd love to.
I'm not seeing any in the question one. I don't see any further questions.
Okay. Well, thank you everyone for joining us today. If there is anything else that we can do, please don't hesitate to contact us. And we look forward to working with you with Aspen Discovery. Have a great day, everybody.